Well, tonight we are learning disturbing new information in a case where two children were found dead in the trunk of a car following a traffic stop in Baltimore County. Their aunt is now facing charges, and court documents reveal gruesome details. WJZ is live at District Court in Towson. Avajoy Burnett has those details, and we do want to warn you, they are graphic. Avajoy.
Denise, good afternoon to you. Well, Baltimore County Police are saying this all started from a traffic stop when the suspect was speeding. They say when they pulled that person over, they smelled an odor, and that's when they found the two kids in the trunk. 33-year-old Nicole Johnson faces several charges, including 2 counts of child abuse that resulted in the death of 2 children under 13. Baltimore County Police say an officer pulled Johnson over late Wednesday night, and when the officer told her that the car had to be towed because the tags were fake, the officer detected the unmistakable odor of decomposition. At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket, exposing the decomposing body of a young child. And after a search, officers found a plastic bag that was tied up. The bag was opened, revealing another decomposing body of a young child. Police say those kids were her 7-year-old niece, Jocelyn Johnson, and her 5-year-old nephew, Larry O'Neill. Johnson told police she was taking care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to. But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged to have the children returned, but the defendant never showed. According to the documents, the little girl may have been dead since last year. The aunt told police that in May of 2020, when they were staying at an inn off Pulaski Highway, she hit the little girl, and the girl fell and hit her head. Johnson described placing her niece inside a suitcase and carrying her around in a car for many months. And according to the documents, Johnson also told police that the little boy had an injury about 2 months ago, and he never woke up, and that she placed his deceased body in the plastic tote and kept him in the trunk with a sister. Johnson remains in jail with no bond. And according to those court documents, when the autopsy was done, that 7-year-old girl weighed 18 pounds, the 5-year-old boy weighed 21 pounds. The official cause of death has not been revealed just yet. Live in Towson tonight, Avajoy Burnett.
Okay, so y'all just heard that very gruesome story right there, and let me tell you that, for starters, I didn't even know that this happened in Maryland, let alone in Baltimore. I didn't even know that this happened in the state. I heard about the story, but never got a chance to really speak on it at a good, timely manner as I did. But the fact that this happened so close to home, because for me, from where I live to Baltimore is literally about an hour drive. That's first and foremost. Second, I would like to offer my condolences to the family of these children, with the exception of her. That's the second thing. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. This chick that you see in this picture is clearly way off her rocker. For her to do what she did to these kids, because I don't care what anybody says, this woman had to have, in my opinion, probably killed these kids before she did what she did with their bodies, by putting them in a bag and putting them in the trunk of a car. And the thing that stuck out to me when I first heard about it was I saw certain keywords, and some of the keywords that I heard was about a body in a trunk in a year. And then this audio confirmed it for me. This woman had her niece in the trunk of a car in a suitcase for over a year. Then took out the brother and had him also in a bag in the trunk, the same trunk as the little girl, as his sister, for a couple of months, and was literally driving around town with their bodies back there like it was nothing. This is more than a person who has some kind of issue. This person has some kind of, I don't know how to put it. I don't know if it's a psychopathic or whatever type of behavior you want to call it. If I was the parent of this child, sibling or not, they would get the brakes beaten off of them. No questions asked. I would pretend that you are a common stranger on the street, and I would do my best to take you out. Now, they said that the kids weren't with the mother because she wasn't in a position to take care of them, so the sister stepped in and offered to do them. And in a perfect world, that would be the greatest thing ever, but not in this case. That was the worst thing that could have happened. Sometimes family ain't shit. And she, in this moment, proved just that. Like, imagine, you go through the court proceedings and then you try to find out what's, you get your kids back, and then you try to find out where they are, and you get in the runaround only to find out that they're dead and how they're dead. They said they found maggots inside of those bags, which means little bugs and insects were feasting on their flesh because their bodies were so badly decomposed. I can't even imagine what it looked like in that trunk. The one good thing that comes out of this is that this chick does not have a bond, which means her level of crime is so intense that they do not want her back out on the street at all. They're definitely going to throw the book at her. They're going to throw the bookshelf. They might throw the whole library at her, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll be perfectly okay with that. Because what this woman did to her own niece and nephew, that's what makes it even worse. She did this to her own flesh and blood. Kids that she was supposed to be looking after while her sister was going through the court proceedings to try to, get her stuff together so she can get her children back. At least that's what families should do. Looking at this story, if they would have took out the part that this woman was not only the sister to the woman that whose kid she did this to, but also their niece and nephew, I would have thought of it as this woman kidnapped these kids. As far as I'm concerned, that's what it looks like she basically did. Like, it was nothing for her to just watch these kids, and they mentioned somewhere where she had hit the kids or hit the little girl. So she was abusive. She exhibited abusive behavior on children. Abusive so bad that they ended up dead. I'm still stuck on the fact that she was riding around in the car with the body in the trunk for over a year. Because they said that this dates back, based on their findings, into like March of last year or sometime last year. And the boy dates back a few months of this year. Maybe they should do to her what she did to those kids and see how it feels. Because you got to think, this girl, they said she hit her head. I believe they said she hit her head, and, she was most likely knocked unconscious. She probably had a concussion. And see, the reason why she did this is because she knew that if she took that child to the hospital, they would have asked what happened. They would have figured out that she was abusing these children. It would have got back to the mother. And then the worst would have came. Well, here's the thing. The worst probably would not have happened to her if she had just did that. She would have definitely had some jail time and some assault charges. But by her doing it and taking a step further to what she did, it made her situation 10 times, 100 times, honestly, more worse than what it was. I don't know why people who are in bad positions make the positions worse, but I think it's chalked up to they panic, and in the midst of their panicking, this is what the outcome happens to be. It's just very gruesome. It's very disturbing and disgusting what this woman did. And I can't even bring myself, I shouldn't even call her a woman, what this thing did to those children. I hate doing stories like these. That's probably why I don't jump at so hard to do stories like this. But I know that they need to be talked about. Because this shows you right here that we even have an element in our community that needs to be extinguished and relinquished and let them be sent on their way. Well, they're going to send her on her way, all right. They about to send her ass up the river in with no boat or paddle. No life vest. And she did this in Baltimore too. I heard them Baltimore prisons ain't one to play with. And I hear women's prisons are worse than men's. So she better get comfortable where she's at.